Let's get Harshit right back onto the screen, and then Harshit, let's talk about leverage, right, and benefits combined. So assume that organizations have visibility into their end-to-end value chain. It's a dream come situation, but let's assume it. How should they utilize it, and how would they benefit from it? What are the steps, or what would be your advice to them?
Yeah, Sanjay. Yeah, so I think we have all the panelists have shed a little bit of light around the value uh, of visibility, of end-to-end visibility. Uh, but yeah, let me try to put some structure from my from my point of view. That I think the number one benefit which we have already talked about briefly is the customer delight and a great customer experience, right? So today, when we order food from Swiggy or Zomato, we get a real-time visibility of where that rider is, when is it going to come at our location, and it helps us set a customer expectation. It also helps Swiggy manage those deliveries better, right? Now imagine a B2B scenario where organizations and brands are moving millions of dollars of inventory, and there they are missing this piece of being able to better manage as well as better deliver a great customer experience, right? So the idea behind visibility is to take this experience and bring it across the supply chain at all different nodes of the supply chain. So the number one value that that I believe there is intangible, but it's very important. Is a great customer experience, and in a larger B2B scenario, right? This visibility means a lot. It helps customers improve their operations. For example, a distributor or a retail store can plan their commitments to their customers better if they have a visibility of when the goods are going to arrive, right? Auto manufacturer can manage their assembly line and their production better if they have a visibility of incoming components, and if they know that a certain component is going to get missed, they can arrange an alternate immediately, because a minute of delay can cause lakhs and crores of losses on an assembly line, right? So one area of benefit is customer experience and them and helping customers manage their operations better, right? Now coming to a more, I would say, a tangible benefit, an area of tangible benefit, right? So interestingly, in India, about 6% of our GDP is stuck in inventory carrying cost, right? It is the inventory which left the manufacturing facility, but it did not yet reach the customer's hand, right? So this inventory carrying cost is taking up 6 rupees out of every 100 rupees that all of us spend in India, right? And with visibility, with better control, better monitoring, as one of the key elements, we can actually bring this down and slash down this cost to less than 3%, right? So that's a major benefit of like reducing the and improving the efficiency of supply chain to an order of a single digit percentage of national GDP, right? And we have first hand seen that when organizations enable visibility in the supply chain, within a matter of 4 to 6 months, they see 40 to 50 crore of inventory disappearing from their system, from their supply chains, right? So the second major benefit is reduced cost of doing business, right? And then there are a lot of industry specific benefits. So FMCG and FMCD industries see the OTIF, on time in full metric shooting up, right? In retail, companies see products landing at the shelf at the right time, which saves a lot of loss of sale. It can actually drive up the top line by half to 1% overall. In alcohol beverages, costs of massive detention costs will come down as you improve your monitoring with real time visibility. So these are all some of the benefits that different industries are seeing, and from more of a future supply chain digitalization perspective, right? We believe that visibility is one of the most key components to enable and unlock all of other digitalization capabilities. So it can help with revenue recognition, it can help with invoice discounting, proof of deliveries, right? All these systems can ride on top of visibility. They become much better with visibility. So it is a key component, we believe, of the truly digital enterprise. So that's my view on the end-to-end value.
Fantastic, Harshit. And you talked about the enterprise management. You talked about going beyond enterprise also, and what is the leverage that you have in terms of getting the data right into the system. So I would like to bring Vaibhav on this. There is a question from Mr. Oren Simon, and thank you very much, Mr. Simon, for asking the question. And Vaibhav, the question is: we all agree that visibility is critical, but how do you get that visibility? What brings the data into the system? Who can build the cat in a way? Weber, over to you.
Okay. Interesting question, Mr. Oren. So first of all, I would divide the answer into two parts. One is generation of data, and second is generating visibility out of that data. So we all agree that 10 years back, the IoTs were really expensive. Not only they were expensive, they were hard to use. The size
Yeah.
of the IoTs, the cost of the IoTs, how to use them, everything was very difficult. But with the technology getting more and more developed, the size of the IoT, the cost of the IoT, the ease of use, everything is getting more and more adaptable. So a lot of companies have started adopting to these IoTs, putting sensors in the right places, getting data out of it, feeding that data in the system has become much more simpler, much more cheaper to do. Now, after you have put in sensors at the right place, let's take example of simple. We put a simple temperature sensor in a temperature controlled vehicle, and that is connected to GPS. That automatically after every regular interval, say after every 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, take the temperature of the vehicle and sends it back into the cloud, right? Now, second part is how do you create visibility out of it? You have now data, you have it available in the cloud. Now, again, due to the advancement in the technology, the cloud systems coming in and everything coming in, now we have a single source of data in which all your systems on the computers, ERP systems pull the data from the same point, and then the visibility is corrected because now you're sharing that data with everyone, whoever needs it, and the source of the data is also single. There are not multiple sources of data, so that there is a conflict of data that keeps on happening, right? So hence you are able to capture the data and share it across the value chain to everyone from a single source. That gives visibility its real truth. Now, a lot of places we see that. So, for example, if you're flying an aeroplane, suddenly you see that the engine is overheating. Now, the pilot has to take a decision.
Yeah.
Now, it may actually happen due to the failure of the IoT device, right? And actually the engine is not overheating. So sometimes when they are very, very critical, these things, we need multiple sensors to be there and their algorithms built in the place, which tells you what is the real critical this thing and what is not a critical sense. So different types of things are happening in this advancement of technology. Hence, you sense the right data and then you share the right data across the value chain is something what will create a visibility, in my opinion. I hope I've answered the question.
Yes, yes, Vaibhav, you brought a lot of elements into the equation, including even a predictive analysis for the example about aeroplane flying that you give. Let's get Pankaj onto the screen, and then Pankaj taking this part of getting the data in, sharing it across the network, right, and then creating a trust environment. So let's talk on these two, three themes into one element is decentralization of value chains, right? And is good to say, let's share the data, but in reality, you will have IP issues and you have trust issues within the organization. Forget about enterprise wide, right? It is an inter-enterprise. So in the last 2 decades, right, supply chain networks have been very decentralized for various reasons, for cost reason, for agility, for lean, whatever. Now, in this scenario, what level of visibility that is possible for the organization? Is it siloed and is it disjointed that we need to make an effort to make it into a centralized one?
Thanks for the question, Sanjay. It's a very well debated question inside an organization as well. Let me take an example of various e-com partners that we have in the ecosystem, right? Now, if an e-com partner opens up its data via an API to us, anybody would be able to very easily view the data of the competition as well. Hence, there has to be certain boundary of the visibility of certain level of data that one can view. So that's one example I wanted to take. Second, it took them a long time to move from an EDI to an API opening, and ease of data being visible to us as well. A mediator is required, or a software is required to kind of have only that lane of data visible to the owner. Third element is all about your supply chain partners, right? Your partners are your extended family. All of them need to have the right amount of data or information rather visible to them, so that they can take a decision as per their karma that they are supposed to do, and whatever they are designed to do. If you give too much information to somebody, then that somebody tries to join extra dots which they are not supposed to do, and make a decision which they are not supposed to do. So hence, too much of something is also bad. We've learned that, right? So the right amount of information should be made available to your partners, because they are your value partners, they are your extended family, who enable you to deliver the goods or the promise to the consumers. Now, the earlier panel members have also elaborated very clearly, across the supply chain, all the data points should be stitched together, and the impact of it's like a domino effect. If one person moves in the right direction, the other team members also then move in the right direction. And for me, yes, visibility of that data, creating decentralized supply chains is very important. COVID has also given us an opportunity to rethink our processes. We've got
Yes.
manufacturing setup, third party setup, partners who are working with us. On the ground, every state government had different rule sets. They were all designed to enable business and safeguard the people working to deliver the promise, but they were different in each state. On the ground, if they were given the empowerment with certain data sets, a certain set of production was enabled. Actually, if you ask me, everybody said, okay, let's forget the smaller SKUs, let's make the larger SKUs and
Yes.
deliver the goods to the consumer. So, a lot of on the ground localized decisions and localized information flowing up to the central team enabled it. Procurement, for example, there is a certain set of business procurement that happens in the centralized supply chain, and a certain is already decentralized. So it's the balance. If you can get the balance right, the decentralized supply chain can unlock a lot of value potential and enable everybody with it. So that's my take on it, Sanjay. And thanks once again for the question. I hope I was able to throw some light from my perspective on it.
Of course,
Would
and
love
you
to
talked
hear the
about,
other
yeah,
panel members.
you talked about e-com partnerships, right? You talked about the secondary network, and then you talked about boundary, right? Boundaries, as well as right amount of information, right? And that was something very much pertinent. Right amount of information, not a lack of it, not a surfeit of it, right? There is something staying on the borderline.